It was hard getting here. I'll tell you about it in a bit. But my name is Safina Joy Stewart. You can't listen well until you know who you're listening to, is one of my experiences. And you also need to know that I'm not here to fool you or to make fools of you. I'm here because I have to survive this violence of colonization. And I would like to leave the church. But someone bigger than the church called me to the church. And so despite myself, I turn up. And it really hurts. And I could cry now and sit down and that would be enough. Because as far as I can see it, I am naked and stripped and beaten and then expected to hop up and puppet the good things about why colonization has been good for these lands, good for the people who now call it home. I'm supposed to act grateful as a black woman, a grateful Christian black woman, a tamed black woman. But if I can be honest with you, this is the thorn in my side. This is my crucifixion. And this is my sacrifice of life. See my lip, it's quivering. After all the years, I was born at a Bible college. I was raised on the mission field. I am the child of a pastor. After all the years, and I don't know how I survived, but after all of the years, the only thing that I have now is my story and my truth. And I have to trust you to believe me. And that is an incredibly vulnerable posture. So you can expect me to cry, and you can expect me to be angry, and you can expect swear words. Because anger to injustice is a holy response. And calling people to stand up, rally, advocate is a higher calling of our faith. And honestly, if we do not have an authentic faith that actually puts ourselves on the line, then we have no right to call ourselves the followers of Jesus. So I'm starting a bit solemn, and that's okay. But I'm proud to be the woman who I am from the place where I come from. So to strengthen myself, I will introduce myself to you. I have no family here to give me scaffolding. I have come alone. But I am the daughter of Bob Fergie from Scottish heritage. And I am the daughter of Dosina Fergie Ni Bingarup Tadipada, who is from the traditional lands of the Mabiog in the Torres Strait, Mabiog Island, and Wutiti country, far north Queensland, tip of Cape York on the east side. I live now with my 3 children and my husband on Boonwurrung country in Victoria. If you think about the map of Australia, I live on the extreme opposite end. But I have chosen to live with the salt water because that connects me back to my islands. And I understand salt water, salt air, and the land that kisses the sea. I understand it somehow. I was born in New Zealand. What a heritage. I was breastfed from my Māori aunties. When my mum needed to go to class, she'd pass me on to the aunties. And that warrior blood runs through me because of their generosity. What nutrients. I grew up in Papua New Guinea, a sister culture to my Torres Strait Islands. I was one of those kids in the bush with no shirt on running around. I was raised with culture, custom, tradition from my neighbouring Melanesian culture. At the age of 10, my family left Papua New Guinea to come back to Australia, my home. I had always known acceptance, love and care, because the generosity, as you know, in the hospitality of Melanesian and Polynesian community is so rich and abundant. Food, cuddles, time, conversation, village. This is what I knew. When I came to Australia, we saw all of our relatives. But then I had to go to 2 institutions. Had to, no choice, had to. Wanted to, school and church. School, step in, first day. And these gorgeous Barbie doll looking girls, they had skin like pearls. And they had hair like silk. And they looked at me and they said, "Look at that." I believe the word "that" means that I was objectified in that one moment, excluded in that one moment, and positioned in that one moment. You don't need to know the rest of it. But the undoing of so much happened within 2 years of my schooling experience. I went to a Christian school. God bless them. I went back just as defiance. I went back and I taught there. And at church, I was told to not bring my black in because it was not holy or acceptable. I laughed because I actually thought that was a good response. Now I weep because that attitude has been passed on to so many who would rightfully have their place to walk in a door with Jesus on the other side. Mind-boggling. My name, Safina, is an Arabic word. I was named after Auntie Safina. She had 12 kids. She was from the Solomon Islands and one of my mum's best friends, relationship, named my child. And Auntie Safina was joy-filled. My name in Arabic means ship, big ship, huge ship, the first of its kind, designed like with new ideas. It takes journey for the first time where no one has ever gone, and it takes very fragile cargo with it. So it's referred to in the Bible as Noah's Ark. I am Noah's Ark, not the Titanic, because Safina is a boat that gets there and arrives and takes her passengers safely. The first spaceship that took off, landed on the moon and came back is a Safina, for instance. So it's a big vessel. My second name is Joy. And for some reason, that name has actually held me because it speaks of the calling to take people safely. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm talking very, very slowly. And I've dropped my tone all the way down to a very low, because I know how to make people scared. I know all the tricks because it's been used against me. And I respond. It activates fear in me. But I also know how to bring people along safely. This is what my parents have taught me. Bring them safely. And so, I'm going to help you to listen through my drawing. Thank you to Brad, who made a copy for everybody. I want everyone to pick up that little piece of paper, actually A4 piece of paper, with an eagle on it. And if you have a pen, well done, get your pen. This is just like in school. First thing, put your name on it just in case it gets lost. Second thing, I want you to write down these Bible passages. You ready? Could you please write these on the wings, on the big eagle? Exodus 19, 3-6. Exodus 19, 3-6. That's the one with Moses in it, saying, don't forget how God carried you on eagle's wings out of Egypt. You can look all these up later because I haven't got enough time. Next one. Hebrews 10, 19-25. That's all about persevering in your faith and having confidence to step into the most holy place because of what Jesus has done for us before us. And so we need to encourage each other up in the faith. That's my verse to you. That's why I'm here. I want to encourage you up in the faith. And then the last one is Micah 6:8. And you all know about that one. Something about justice and mercy and humility. Right. When you come back to your notes, and you might bring out your Bible or your phone Bible, refer to those ones when you see your notes again. Got it? All right. You're all doing very, very well. This eagle in the country where I live, Bunurong country, is known as Bunjil. Bunjil is the creator spirit. It's remarkable when I listen to traditional stories from elders around anywhere. I am always listening for the thread of the gospel, but I'm actually trying to find where creator and saviour fit into this story. And the story of Bunjil in Victoria is quite remarkable. Big spirit came from above, came down, formed everything, created out of, so this is me really paraphrasing and summarising, gets some mud and actually sculpts the form of a human, a man, takes a big breath, floods his nostrils with air, and boom, he's alive. Looks at him, sorry fella, you lonely. Makes another one, grabs some seaweed, places beautiful hair on that second one, floods that one with air, boom, up she gets. The two of them. Bunjil gives instructions about how to care for all the beautiful country, all the animals, all the elements, how to look after them well. When I hear that story, and there's more to it because there's this part where then Bunjil goes back up and says, by the way, I'll be back and I'm watching over you always. That's me paraphrasing, but do you get the thread there? So when we talk about symbols, and being an artist, I love symbols because art has a way of connecting things that sometimes words fail us to be able to do. But when I see that eagle, big arms, stretched out, heart up, lungs open, soaring, I go, boom, aim to be like that. Open, breathing, heart pulsing. Worst thing I can do is take a dive, boom, into the ground. And so my posture of decolonising is actually copying that eagle, copying my Saviour who also spread arms open wide, heart completely bare, sharing everything with everyone and said, everybody can come. That's my inspiration right there. So that's the story of Bunjil. Now, coming out of those wings, as that eagle is flying over the land, can you see a whole heap of creation coming out? Beautiful imaginings, beautiful imagination. Let's start with some of the stuff that is life. How about you write down the word belonging? Somewhere in that gorgeous tapestry at the back of the eagle, just write the word belonging. Next word, safety. Anyone else want another word? Something that's life-giving, that our God creates. Joy. I got another one. Community. Put it down. Oh, can we put joy? Joy. Joy is an expression of life. I have no idea. What did I say? Safety. Oh, that's a good one. Safety is really good. Flourishing. Flourishing. All right. Today is an interesting date. Today is the 25th of January, 2024. Let's just rewind 236 years to the 25th of January, 1988. Rewind. What happened today? Did the first fleet put their flag up today on the 25th? No, but tomorrow, that's what's marked. Today, 236 years ago, is my people's last day of freedom. Just write down 236 years. That's 12 generations for me. 12 generations of my people, of my family. That's a lot of generations for colonisation to have an impact on. But today's a bit of a historical day. It's our last day. It's the anniversary of something ending. And, I'll be grieving tomorrow. Tomorrow is a day of mourning. Tomorrow is Invasion Day. Tomorrow we remember that Captain Arthur Phillip put that British flag on soil and claimed it as British land, and the process of just extermination began. But the intention of it didn't start that day. But they waited. They were actually anchored for 8 days. On the 18th of January, they came to Sydney Cove. But they didn't hop off the boat just yet. Probably had a lot of work to do on the ships. But they waited until the 26th to actually come and plant the flag. So today's a bit of a grieving day for me as well. It's not a bit, it is. I won't pepper my words with sweetness, it just is. And Sunday that just passed, the 21st of January, we had Aboriginal Sunday. Did anyone here have any kind of service or event on the 21st to mark Aboriginal Sunday? Thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you. And so Aboriginal Sunday came from Uncle William Cooper calling the churches to connect in solidarity with our Aboriginal people and to pray. Why? Because we needed a heck load of prayer. Why? Because that colonisation effect, that destruction effect, that violence had almost wiped us all out. Not just in numbers, but in spirit. The attempt of colonisation, the objective actually of colonisation, is to exterminate and to remove all sense of identity. That's a predator. And what weapons can we use to completely remove someone's identity or a collective group's identity, what do? You take them away from everything that they know. You take everything that they do know and everything that they live for away. And they are left naked, alone, starving, and powerless. So this attempt of colonisation has been very effective, extremely effective. And I have to be careful. I do. I have to be careful because I have 3 beautiful children who I need to try and keep safe. During the referendum, might as well talk about it. As you know, the surge of brutal racism that was permitted and also exemplified and modelled by leaders of our country, it really took an effect on us. In my little tiny town, so many people were hurt. The racism at the schools increased, in the hospitals increased, on the streets increased. I wasn't sure how to go to Woolworths to do my shopping because every time I went, someone would see me because I wear it. I wear my colours. I wear my identity on my clothes. It's one thing that I can do. When people say I'm not black enough, when they look at my skin, I think, well, what can I wear to prove to them that I am who I am? So, love all this clothing that now has Aboriginal print on it because it's a tool for me to proclaim that I'm walking into the room, so look out. But even going to Woolworths, I would have conversations and comments that were, of course, always well-meaning, but incredibly insensitive. And I could have had my children there. I had people come and want to touch my kids like this. Oh, that one, pretty one, eh? I couldn't smash them because then I would have been taken to the police station. And it's not safe to be a black woman in a police station. I had to teach my beautiful son, who has gorgeous long hair like me, curls, to not muck up because his chances are even worse if he was to get scolded at school or if he was to end up on the wrong side of the law. I had to teach them how to survive in both worlds and yet still remain with their strong identity. A little bit tricky to not be angry. We got broken into. We had an intruder. My kid's bike got stolen. What does that tell my children? It tells them that they are not safe. And the comments that they do not belong and that they are not wanted. See how it's repeating? And so then in the referendum, what do? We stand and say, we, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, want this thing called a voice, would like recognition in the Constitution for all of these remarkably wonderful, intelligent reasons. And then we are just flogged with racism. The thing to me, it wasn't a surprise that there was racism. I'm so used to it. It shocked my husband, bless his heart, but he didn't really know the experience of it. When it entered into our home, he was quite stressed by it, that it almost caused him a paralysis. And I had to kind of massage him into action again. You are strong, you are powerful. Stand at the door, be the first one to go to the door if anyone wants to enter. I had to help him through. That's okay. Paralysis is a natural response. But it was a huge shock to him to enter into the world of what his children, wife, and our relatives have to live with. So when the referendum was unsuccessful, my kids went through trauma. And I didn't know what to do. And almost within a week, I started getting emails, text messages and phone calls from well-meaning Christians saying, what do we do next? I really didn't know what to say to them. I wanted to smash them, actually. Not that individual per se, but just the general, what they represented, the Church of Australia, because I thought to myself, we told you what we needed you to do now. We told you it needed to be now. We told you. We've been waiting. It's now. Run now. Sprint now. There, that target, that's the one. Now. And so this sense of deep betrayal when congregations and denominations said, we shall not have a smoking ceremony or a welcome to country because it's paganistic, evil, demonic. Or when people said, yes, of course we'll put out a paper about the yes. But to be fair, we really need to also back up colonisation and put out the no. Or when media outlets said, well, we'll interview you, but we need to also present the balanced case. I felt betrayed by the very place that I was trying to give redemption and the invitation of reconciliation to, my fellow brothers and sisters of the church. The thing was, and I have to realise this and understand this, there's so much structural racism that it has caged us all in the church. We've actually made a rod for our own back with setting up this institution, which was modelled off, wonderful theories and mechanisms that come from a colonial perspective. And so really we were handcuffed in many ways, and I've got to add that to my space of grace and forgiveness to my fellow brothers and sisters in the church. But gee, it was a letdown. And I kept shaking my head thinking, but I believe in the church. I believe in what Jesus did, that he is our hope, that he calls us into justice, calls us into mercy, calls us to walk humbly. Why can't we do that? Is it us? Are we in our own way? Is it the structures that we thought would be really great? Is that in our way? And really it's all of it. I know there's, it's not a and or, it's a both and. But here we are now talking about the future of the church, and I'm kind of like, do I actually be honest with you and say I actually don't know what to dream sometimes? I don't. So what source do I go back to? I've got to go back to that one there, Jesus, and dig in deep there to find out what God's dreaming was. To come back. When I was having a yarn with Joel on the phone, I said, it's hard for me to look forward in my culture unless I'm willing to look back. So I thought maybe I'll talk to you all like this. Look behind me to prove the point. So when we look back, we see everyone who's gone before us, and we get to see what the original intention was for us even coming into existence. We get to see the heart of our family who raised us. We get to see the love that was poured on us, and we get to see anything and everything that affected that journey along the way that has prohibited us from being the fullness of who we were meant to be, according to the dreaming of our God. When we look back, we get to be honest also with things that we have some regret over, or a lot of regret over. We get to see what things we were powerless over and what things we did have a choice in. When we look back, we can be honest, which means that we can be here in a more authentic way, right here in the present. And if we don't have our feet grounded on the solid rock and also in truth, which is where truth-telling comes into it, if we don't have that, then we will be dangerous to go forward. I'm really scared about the way that we're heading as the Australian church. into the future. Which is why I'm just going to go back and look back again. Because, woo, freaky. So this is what I've been doing lately. Doing a whole lot of backward looking. And maybe it has steadied my feet a little bit. I don't know, we'll see in time. I don't need to impress anyone anymore. But if there is safety, belonging, joy, all those things that you had written down there on the page, if there is that, then I might have the strength to take my one humble step. I told Will and Joel that I had way too much to say and that the time wouldn't allow it, and that my conundrum was that I had to be careful what I would say in case it became confusing or useless. And their response to me, both of you at different times, thank you, you both said, Safina, just turn up. You don't even have to say anything. I did think maybe I won't get up, but just turn up is what their answer was. Because your presence is the gift. So here's the thing. If my brothers can say that to me and my presence is a gift, can you take that to your spaces, please? And when an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander person, a member of our sacred community connected to our sacred land, comes and delights you with their royalty and all of the crap and wounding of what colonisation has been for them in their life, when they turn up, can you respond like them and just say, just turn up? Your presence is a gift to us, because that will permit a gateway opening for belonging and safety. And if we can have belonging and safety in the church, then my people have a chance. Now, I'm about to give you the power moment right now. Then my people have a chance to return to their identity. And their identity is not defined by what the colonizer, slave driver, the pedophile has said of them. Our identity goes way back to who we were called to be, the carers of creation, the caretakers. And by the way, my people haven't forgotten who they are. We're just not allowed to be who we are. That's the summary. My people know that we are of the land. We know that this land is made by a creator, never to be owned, possessed, never to be carved up and objectified, sold as real estate. This land was proof of life and love. And my people's role is to raise it up. Kind of like being a mum, eh? You love, you defend, you kind of bring them into line sometimes to raise up a beautiful flourishing, to raise up life. That's my job as a black mother. That's my job as a black woman connected to the land and the waters. But I actually am better off in my identity if I'm connected to Creator. Enter the church. You can actually reinforce my identity. But I get the predicaments that you're under. Structural racism, Western worldview. You kind of don't know your water when you're in it, the temperature of it. There's a lot of unpacking. There's a lot of learning. I get that it's hard. I feel sorry for you. I would not want to be in your shoes. I don't want to be in my shoes either, but I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. But I do know that together, if we are going to be a church that decolonizes, I really struggle with the word decolonizes, by the way, because it still has the word colonizers in. So if we are going to be a church that is safe, where all can flourish, where grace abounds, and where people are raised up to be free to find their identity and place in the arms of our loving God, then I'm all for that, and I'd like your cooperation. Now, in terms of being an Aboriginal Christian leader, I know that I'm nice to listen to. I know that. I have people coming at me all the time telling me how wonderful, how lovely, how eloquent and intelligent. Oh, compliments. Or perhaps flattery. But if I'm actually going to be what my elders have called me to be and taught me to be and mentored me to be an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Christian leader, then I need to have space to be brutally honest with you and yet keep you safe as we have that conversation. See how my voice is still low and still slow. Good way to cook eggs. But I'm not Jesus. And really, God help us, Jesus is the only way that we're going to get out of this shit. I know where I'm going, and I know who's going to be there. But I really want to fulfill the calling that my Creator gave me to look after this land. I really want to do that because I see that as worship to my Creator. They're that eagle breathing life in. I want to be able to be honourable to my Creator and say, I gave it my all because my response back to you of my life is my loving gift in return. So I don't really want to leave this side of glory yet. But it's really hard being here on this side. I don't have all of the answers, but I have given you my honesty. And you all know that there's more conversation to have. You know there's more books to read, films to watch, conversations to have, webinars to attend. You know. But you might be scared. And the general responses that I get are well-meaning people on the day, like today. Well-meaning, but then the paralysis comes. So just watch for it. There are these things called white guilt, white fragility, too much, when people are like, I'm going to help those little black fellas, and they kind of go in, they're dangerous. There's also, I think it's called apathy. It's like, because it's too confronting, I'm just going to step back and kind of not care. So just keep an eye out for those things if that discomfort stirs inside of you, and just turn it into a prayer. Just give it. Dear God, I'm feeling a resistance of some sort here. Boom, just give it up. Now, if you're the kind of person or group that likes to be involved in things, then now, some people think that I am a saleswoman, but I'm not. I'm actually, all my retail just didn't really come of much. But this is not a plug. This is an invitation now. So Common Grace, right? Common Grace has been a godsend for me, because at Common Grace, I get to be in my identity and actually bring my voice out as an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Christian leader. My role at Common Grace is relationships and storytelling coordinator. That's the best job title I think I could ever want in my life. And my privilege is to bring the voices of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Christian leaders and all of our community to the forefront of the church and invite people to engage, listen. And one of the ways that we have been able to do that is through church partnerships, which means that you can connect with a whole network of churches who are also listening to the voices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leaders. So this isn't a plug as in I'm trying to sell you knives, but wait, there's more. I'm trying to say this is a good well to come and sit around, or a good campfire to also join. And I'm not trying to say that it has all of the answers and that it's the be-all and end-all. I'm trying to say I'll be there. I believe you can come. You're welcome to come. And that's probably the worst sales pitch I've ever done. But if you want to meet and connect with other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Christian leaders to come on this journey of friendship and belonging and reconciliation, well, we're on that journey too. And now I feel really awkward, so I'll stop. Tomorrow is January the 26th, known as the Day of Mourning, Invasion Day, Sovereignty Day, Survival Day, and that other one. There's a few things that you could do tomorrow. You could acknowledge country. It's kind of a bit defiant. You could pray. You could come along to blackfella events. You could connect with Common Grace. But most of all, what I want you to do is remember that there is a bigger story than a singular narrative, and that truth-telling is actually a Jesus way. I don't know if what you've heard from me is what you needed. It's one of the conundrums, again, so many conundrums today, one of the conundrums of using this mechanism, which is a Western teaching method with a singular person up the front and everybody else disrespected. And so I apologise for that. And I also want to name it that this is not my method of learning and it's not my method of teaching. Mine is that circle. And you sit for a long time as you listen to everybody. So actually, my best place will be at that cup of tea place, that morning tea session. But my prayer for you, oh my goodness, what is my prayer for you? My prayer for you is that you would know your identity and that we would all be family, reliable, secure, generous, safe, working towards the good of all so that we are the demonstration of the powerful love of Jesus. I want to thank you for letting me be here. And I did say letting me, because you had to choose. And it's my privilege to have come. And I want to thank you all for your open listening. And the reason I say that is because I can see all of your eyes, and it's a gift to be able to see in your eyes down into your guts. And you've all had a good belly today, which means if you have a healthy gut, you can digest and live through anything. So thank you for the healthy guts. You're all gutsy. God bless.